Joe said, Craig, if we sell Gomez to Palace, do we get Gay? So, look, it's an obvious question to ask, and it's a fair question to ask. Again, I can only be as honest as I can be, mate. I would be very surprised if Liverpool go in and buy Mark Gay, especially at the numbers that we're seeing mentioned. Newcastle have put in a £65 million offer, and they haven't even had that accepted yet. So I really don't know what the option is at centre-back. David doesn't know who the option is at centre-back, but it does seem as though, like we've said all summer, it is very likely we could see Joe Gomez depart. And you would have to imagine that we wouldn't be stupid enough to let a versatile defender like Joe depart unless we knew we had a bona fide replacement ready to come in. Now that's where I'm of no help to you right now, Joe. I don't know who that centre-back could be, but you may or may not have seen the interview we did with David earlier on. He seems very strong that there's a good possibility Gomez could depart in this window. Palace, as you've seen written tonight by many journalists, are certainly leading the race. Villa, name has been mentioned as well. I don't know who we replace him with, but we better replace him. And I've said this last night and I'm going to stand over it now. Joe Gomez is 1.5 players to me. He's not just a one replacement. And I'm also going to go as far as to say I still feel you need 5 senior centre-backs to go through a season like this. So losing Gomez and replacing him, I still don't see that as being enough to keep me happy, personally. But again, I'm just happy that there's movement at this point of the window. Craig, if they sell Gomez, wouldn't Gordon be the next option? Plus, don't you think we need to reinforce the back for Rob or Virgil? So, if we sell Joe Gomez, you have to have a top-notch centre-back ready to go. You have to. You cannot go into the season with Canade, who has been really good since we've started, but could pick up a knock or two, and then just Kwanzaa and Virgil. Let's be honest about Nat Phillips. We all know that Nat Phillips could be utilised, but isn't good enough ultimately, and the club will let his contract run down, and he will leave at the end of the season. So we have to bring in a replacement for Joe if he goes. Now, Crystal Palace obviously are looking for centre-backs. We know that. They have already lost Anderson. They may lose Mark Gay. And then for Liverpool, it could be a case of what Joe wants to do. But if we sell Joe without a replacement, this will be one of the most idiotic windows ever. But I can't imagine the club will be that foolish. It's looking like Mark Gay is going to end up at Newcastle. And that makes the most sense because they've been the ones pushing all the way through this window to sign him. Everybody I've spoken to, including David Lynch, does not have a name. Nobody knows who the centre-back Liverpool are looking at is, if indeed we are. So I'm waiting with bated breath to figure out who this is, because selling Joe Gomez is a big risk. You're getting somebody there, or you're losing somebody, who can play left back, right back, either centre back position, and at a push, the 6, although you wouldn't be wanting to use him there for a long time. So when you see the likes of Newcastle, who were interested at one point, Aston Villa, who are interested, Crystal Palace interested, you could say we're probably going to receive a good fee. And this would be a deal that Joe wants to go play football. This wouldn't be Liverpool kicking him out the door, but if Joe wants to go and play football and the move works for everybody, why not? Why selling Gomez when we need depth for the Champions League? So the answer is twofold. One, we did show Joe earlier in the window that we were willing to sell him when he was offered as part of the deal for Anthony Gordon. So after that, it's very difficult to look a player in the eye and tell him that you see his future at the club. Now, Arne Slot wants to keep him. And from my understanding, this will come down to a decision for Joe. The club have always said if Joe wants to move, they'll try to facilitate it as long as it doesn't leave them short and the right offer comes in. And it seems as if the offer will be acceptable. It'll be somewhere probably between 35 and 45 million pound. The only worry I have about it is the replacement and the versatility. But it is Joe's decision. This isn't Liverpool looking to just sell Joe Gomez out. This is going to come down to what Joe wants to do. If Joe turns around and says he wants to stay, I promise you, the club will go, absolutely no problem, Joe. Knuckle down, we'll get going. But he wants more first-team football than we're probably going to be able to offer him. And again, that's understandable as well. You know, these guys only get one career. And Joe's been a great servant to the football club since he came in, I think, age 18 from Charlton. And none of us who are doing out our strongest centre-back partnership, if we're being honest, would have Joe in there. So I get it from his perspective. My fear as a Liverpool fan, Ryan, is obviously worrying that we don't get a replacement in. And that's the one part that we have to get right.